So Autistic Barbie is here. Let's discuss. Okay, guys. So the Mattel brand dropped a inclusive doll of Barbie being the autistic Barbie, right? And this kind of sent shockwaves across the community, and a lot of people are talking about it, discussing different things. But I want to come down to the nitty gritty and talk about it. And this is a no BS, just straight down the middle talk about it. Okay, so when I first heard about this, it came up on my news feed, right? That Barbie had released this doll on the day in the morning. Obviously, being in the community, I looked at my computer and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, what is this? And it was really interesting. Barbie has, and I don't know if you haven't seen it, she's basically, there's a Barbie doll that is kind of got movable elbows and wrists so that she can do like flapping or stimming, as we call it in professional terms. And she also comes with headphones. She has an ACC communicator, basically like an iPad thing that you can use to talk with, and for people with speech difficulty. And it was really interesting because she also seems to be kind of like a Barbie of color, which is kind of cool. So it's a female autistic Barbie of color. So you're hitting like three minority groups there, or marginalized groups, in one doll, which I think is pretty amazing. And that representation doesn't happen often. Now, what I did see, and I put this on my TikTok and Instagram, was a guy called Alex. Let me see his podcast. I'll bring up the name of his podcast here. Basically, he was talking about this, and he was like, he was like one of the first videos I seen talking about the Barbie, right? And his video, if I'll find his channel name for you now. So because I did a reaction to this, or like the response, um, and he basically said that the Barbie was not right, or it wasn't the best thing ever. Goodness, I can't find his video now. Alex, it's like Alex the ADHD podcaster or something like that. I don't follow his channel; it just came up on my feed, right? And he was basically saying like, "Oh, how stereotypical is it that Barbie has headphones and she's carrying around a calculator, which is really weird. It's not a calculator in ACC." And I mistaken this in the video before I'd looked into the doll when I made my reaction video. And I'll leave a link for my reaction video as well down below in the description of this video, so you can see it in the short video. He was basically saying that there's no look for autistic people. How dare they do this? And being like really self-righteous and trying to kind of downplay the fact that Mattel had made this doll. Now, not just that, I also seen a bunch of other people kind of saying online like, oh, Barbie, the autistic Barbie, so stereotypical, blah blah blah. But not forgetting that if they had made a white, male Barbie boy, that would be way more stereotypical, right? And if you think about it, like that would have been a more stereotypical kind of autistic person, okay? But when we think about representation, there's a few things we've got to think about. One is that we need visibility within the mainstream market, okay? And so when Mattel comes out and says, "Hey, we're going to do an autistic Barbie doll," that's amazing work. That's really, really good. That's like, hey, we're seeing, like the autistic community, autistic individuals are seeing. And not only that, the kids who have those conditions and difficulties like we have will then look up to those things and be like, wow, Barbie's like me. I can play with a Barbie that's like me, not just like a Barbie that's like the stereotypical preppy girl like Barbie always has been, blonde, white, Malibu Stacy type of thing. And I think this is so cool. Now, what bugs me about this video that Alex did, where he was dissing Mattel and saying it was like not a good thing, and it's not a representation. It's kind of like, where do we go from here? If you constantly say we need representation, we need representation, we need people to say and show autism in mainstream, that means including toys and video games and TV shows and movies, and then they come out and they do it, and then we instantly just say that's rubbish. That's not how you did it. What are we doing? Like, we are literally saying to these people, hey, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And what I think would happen, is just my opinion, is that eventually those companies are just going to go, okay, well, fine, we're not going to do it then because we can never get it right. Now, I had a similar experience to this when I was on TV. So I was back in, I think it was 2000, I think it might have been the end of 2018, maybe even just 2019. Um, no, it was 2019. I was cast for a TV show called The Circle by Netflix, right? And it was running by a channel here called Channel 4 in the UK. And the idea of the show is basically that it's kind of like a Big Brother thing, but you're all in a separate apartment and you communicate through like a big TV screen with like WhatsApp on it. And you talk back and forwards with your teammates, but they don't know who you are. So you could be catfishing them, and the person who catfishes the best basically wins the game. However, they the channel here, Channel 4, commissioned by Netflix, they actually have they're known for being kind of like representative of different minority groups and things like that. But they cast me because I was an autistic person and I was playing a non-autistic person, and seeing if people could catch me out. Now I was player number one. I did all the things for them, right? Like everything. I did like commercials for them, did national newspaper interviews. I went into hiding because this is what happens when you go on reality TV. They put you into hiding first and then you come on TV. And I did all that stuff. And they paid me a bunch of money. And then literally 2 days before going into hiding, before filming the full parts of the show, my executive casting producer from Warner Brothers phones me and they're like, "Hey, we're dropping you from the show." And I was like, "Why?" And they said, "Well, between you and I, they just want to play it safe." I was like, "Well, what the hell does that mean?" And they said, "Look, the channel known for having like, inclusion and diversity, they're scared of mistreating you or seeming like they're getting it wrong or mistreating you on TV because they don't want the backlash." And I thought to myself, "Well, this is shocking. That's just absolute like nonsense. No one's going to think that they're treating me wrongly. It's my decision to go on TV and blah blah blah." But this is exactly it. This is an example of that. This is why people don't put, autistic people in reality TV, or in, it's highly represented in movies and TV shows, because the backlash from the community, albeit a small minority of the community, give it such garbage. Like, "Oh, you can't, it's wrong. Brr." Like they just complain about it. Complaining gets you nowhere. Positive reinforced progression will get you to the goal. Now, if you had an issue with the Barbie, you say you'd be use the yes and type of language. You'd be like, "This is cool, and I think it could be improved," right? Or, "Do you like the Barbie?" "Yes, and I also think there are room for improvement," because I think it is a good thing. Do I think it's the perfect? No, nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? What are we talking about? But what we should be celebrating here is visibility on mainstream brands for toys for kids on the autism spectrum. Absolutely fantastic. And the fact that we are moving into a more uh, accepting and viewable, visible world for autistic individuals, where people can not only just know about autism, they can see it, they can interact with it now. They have a doll. Like, so much more learning is going to come from this, even just on the macro side of it. But when we go down to the micro side, when we go to schools that are going to be having this doll in the classroom, can teach so much about autistic individuals, especially to other peers. Now, I think this is a good thing. I think it's a step forward, and I think it's a step in the right direction. And if you have comments on this, I want to know, because, you know, this does bug me how negative the community can be about everything. Like, there's that whole thing, nothing about us without us, and I understand that, right? But also, it does beg a bigger question. If it's nothing about us without us, what about the reverse? Like, and I was saying this to my partner, like, like movies where autistic individuals are cast to actors who are not autistic, right? And a lot of people have a massive issue with this. And I don't see a massive problem with it, because the reverse is also true. So Dan Aykroyd, one of the most famous actors in Hollywood from the past maybe 30 years, Dan Aykroyd, a movie producer, writer, and an actor from Ghostbusters and Blues Brothers and things like that, he has Asperger's syndrome, right? So he's autistic, and he plays non-autistic characters. So by that rule of thumb, typically non-autistic actors can play autistic characters, right? If autistic actors can play non-autistic characters. But this is I'm just looking at it from a viewpoint. I'm not necessarily saying like what is right or wrong. I'm just saying that like this is how it looks. Now I understand that when we're dealing with autistic individuals represented in television, it has to be correct, right? And I think The Good Doctor is a good explanation of this and how it comes across. Atypical was another one, really, really good. I worked with Netflix on this, actually. But in terms of like moving forward, I think if we have autistic consultants and they don't overdo it, or they don't kind of like almost make fun of it, then I think that a non-autistic actor acting autistic can be achieved very well, as we've seen. But also, we have to say to ourselves, well, then it's okay for autistic actors to play non-autistic people. We have to be fair across the board, right? And so it's just something to think about, and how we think about inclusion, diversity, growth, development. Nothing about us without us. Like, I love to know, like, what is it? Like, and as an autistic person myself, I feel deeply about these things, and I love seeing representation. And so far, none of it has impacted me negatively. Apart from there was a movie by Sia, which was difficult to watch because it was unusual. I think it was called Music or something like that, right? And it was just it was difficult to watch. But apart from that, everything else has been pretty decent. Like, and I think that everyone is doing their best. It's not perfect, but we'll get there. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts.